Hello everybody, this is Tactic. I'll be playing Phoenix on Oblivion Express. But what does that mean? Let's look at So Phoenix Prestige 1 is a word I can't even pronounce. It ends up meaning more powerful armor suits. They do more damage, they last longer, they get their stuff back faster, but you only get them 20 seconds at a time on a 2-minute cooldown. So they are important early game, they're semi-important mid-game. I like to think of them more like special teams. I'm going to be going Carrier Swarm. I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference between the Carrier Swarm for Phoenix versus the Carrier Swarm for Carax. Looks like my ally might be having a little bit of keyboard problems.
Guess it's my lucky day. Dominions hired me to destroy some trains carrying dangerous Mobius ordnance.
I've had that happen before too.
Now Amon's a mutual enemy. Maybe you'd like to step up to the plate. I could use
We throw out a pylon, then we throw out a gas mine. Now I have the mastery that gives me 55 supply, so why didn't I just keep pumping out probes? Because you want to try to get your starport and your fleet beacon out as soon as possible so you can create your Phoenix, your carriers as soon as possible. I need to dump 3 to the gas right away. Gonna have him build a gas mine as well. And then keep pumping out probes. So now it is important to get out a carrier. Right as soon as you can, but it's more important to get out your full economy before you worry about your carrier, because you have your drop downs. You can stop the wave and you can stop the train if you have to. You don't want to forsake your carrier, but definitely getting the expansion up is more important. At about 250 crystal, you can send one of your probes out to go make your expansion. We need 200 gas, so we're not going to get there before we can drop our expansion, so it's another reason why the expansion is more important. It just comes first. Tell our probe to go back. So that's 280 crystal to make this carrier. But the more important thing is our entire infrastructure is available now to start pumping out carriers. That's the difference between the Phoenix Carrier Swarm and the Carax Carrier Swarm. Carax has to go through all of his build. He has to pass a whole bunch of different, in my opinion, much better units to get your carriers. Now, his carriers are basically immortal. That's fantastic. But the cost you're paying is that you don't get them until well into the game. And you had to sacrifice a lot of gas to get there. And you can only start pumping them out, even with your chrono boost and stuff like that, you still pump them out relatively slowly. So I don't know why he's coming over here, but he is. I'm going to use my Cyberus Arbiter right away because I might be able to get the cooldown back before the trains come. And I'll open up my expansions and build my last Nexus. And I'll have my Praetor. There you go. All dealt with. I like being able to deal with things on my own and not have to... I know I could have relied on my ally, but I would prefer not to rely on my ally. I didn't build Clolarion. Son of a gun. So I am going to speed up production of this so that way Clolarion comes out sooner. Clolarion does more damage. I'm going to tell these guys to build their gas mines right away. I'm going to crank out my probes as much as I possibly can. There's my carrier. I'm going to tell the starport to send carriers to the carrier when they spawn. I'm going to build the Graviton Catapult. Graviton Catapult I think is the most important upgrade you can get for this build, because launching all of your interceptors right away makes a big difference compared to launching them very, very slowly. I am going to have my Solarite Dragoon by the time I need it for this train. The Solarite Dragoon will destroy this train. You overload, you overcharge it, and then you drop, and then you just obliterate. I'll show you. Why is it not? That was weird. Here I was talking a big game and it didn't end up happening. It's because the cooldowns didn't overlap. He gets back before his overcharge shows up. So in that moment, I didn't have anything that I could shoot out. It's okay. It's only going out on YouTube. It's not like I even have any subscribers. So I will deal with the humiliation. Heavy drinking and a large amount of tryptophan tomorrow will cover it. Make my little pylon matrix so that way I can get rid of everything. Clolarion has his interceptor upgrades, so now he can just throw down a ton of interceptors when the time comes. Now I have 3 Nexuses. Every Nexus can make a building produce units 32.5% faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate 2 more. I'm also going to build 1 forge, and I'm going to make sure he doesn't get locked in there. I'm going to build a cybernetic core, and I'm also going to build a Twilight Council so I can upgrade my shields completely. I'm going to bind my primary attack structures, the ones that support my strategy, to 0. I have bound my resource buildings to an 8 for creating probes and whatnot. I will grab my upgrade buildings, tell them that they're named 7. That is irrespective of whether I'm playing Protoss, Zerg, Terran. I always build the same way. There are some little variations that I have, like for example with Tychus, he also has specialized upgrade places. I don't bind them to 7, I bind them to 9. That way I can focus on getting them their attack and armor upgrades separate from powering up their individual damage dealing unit upgrades. It looks like my ally has this, but I'm going to keep my eyes on it because those immortals could shred him. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just preemptively just help out here. Keep these guys here. VVV. And then I'm going to one of the other benefits of binding the economy keys to 8 is because for Protoss you can use that to also drop down your chrono field. So now these are building faster. I'm going to take my zeros, make sure that they're sending everybody to Clolarion. I'm going to kick off my upgrades. First I'm going to upgrade the units because detection is sometimes useful and the damage is more useful. The air weapon is more important. The shield is kind of important. The armor, especially if Protoss ground units, is not really something I care about. Sometimes if I'm building for certain builds, like for Dragoons or whatever, I will upgrade the armor because their shields drop pretty quick and just every little bit will help them stay alive and be useful. Oh. So I need 15, so that's 5 from each one, so that'll give me everything I need. My new set of carriers, that should give me 6. Should give me 6. The interdictors upgrade, I'm sure it's useful. I like when I trounce things with a carrier swarm, and then I trounce things with a carrier swarm that has interdictors. I can't tell the difference other than there's some big things floating around too. I just don't see the difference. I'm going to get it because I'm sure there is a difference. It's just not one that I can appreciate. We're fighting Protoss. The only invisible units Protoss can make are the ones that my carriers won't care about. So I'm not going to bother to get vision. So at this point, everything's pretty much on a lock. I see that I have 197 resource. That'll make me an even 200. There are other things I can do with my crystals, like I can build cannons and stuff like that, but my Arbiter has a 15-second cooldown and exists for 20 seconds, so there's really no advantage to building cannons when I can just warp my guys back and warp my guys away and whatnot. I don't know why. This seems to be a common problem. Not a problem, it's a common situation. People who are down here will tend to try to attack up here, and people whose bases are up here will try to attack down here. I don't really understand it. I would think that, especially with Stukov, where he has a localized building thing, it's not like the Protoss where he can drop units everywhere or he can warp units everywhere. He has to walk to wherever he's going. I don't know why he would want to come up here and wreck things when he could be destroying this base, he could be destroying this base. I don't know, but he's not wrong. He's fine doing whatever he's doing. I would have just preferred that he stay in your lane, but in a way it's all his lane because it's us against the AI. So.
From the intel I've been provided, I'd say half their stock is in flames.
It's good to keep an eye on your carriers. They'll get dimmer blue if they start taking damage, so you can see what guys need to be pulled out. I have enough resources now to where I can queue up quite a few, so I don't run the risk of any gaps. The next train is going to be coming from the bottom, so by the time I'm through this base, I'll be able to attack and help out on that bottom train. You might want to, just for the sake of argument, you may want to kill the Templar because their AoE could drop a significant number of your drones. Doesn't happen often, but it can happen. There'll be a wave happening up here in a second, so it's good for me to not let my guys go very far. They'll be needed down here in a second. I'm going to throw out my Phoenix, so that way, not just because there's no reason for their ground forces to stop. Their ground forces can't really attack my units, so if I don't give them something to attack, they'll keep walking through, and my carriers will have a harder time having to chase them. So we're almost through this base. I don't like just trying to go fast to prove something. I'd rather make sure I just destroy everything first. So we will take the time to destroy this stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and recall my guys because why wouldn't I? Doesn't cost me hardly anything. That's one of the benefits of this build, is that the Arbiter, you can recall. I'll get that back in the first couple of seconds of having him be up here. So there's no downside to using up all of your energy because you'll get it back by the next time you call him out. I feel like I haven't seen a new carrier in a while, so you always have to check to see, are the carriers getting stuck somewhere? Is there some enemy that's building a base that one or two carriers are just going to keep harrying them, and you could just destroy it really quickly and have your carriers part of your swarm? But nothing like that is happening, just I'm impatient. I haven't seen them in a while. I'm not trying to outdo my ally, if I have downtime I want to be able to take care of this stuff. So we've had the 6th train, which means that a wave is going to come from the bottom right in a few seconds. We'll be, as expected, we'll be coming out of the bottom thing with a strong momentum to carry us into destroying this wave and destroying the little Protoss base that builds up here if you don't pay attention to it. There they are. I'll throw this down because I don't want him to lose all of his zombies. Go up here. I'm going to check again because I'm impatient again. That was a good timing too. And I've reached my maximum capacity. I'm not going to throw out my Solarite because those Reavers could destroy the Solarite, and that wouldn't buy me anything good. But I will send it out here because it's so fantastic at destroying this train. All you have to do is shoot along the length of the train, and you'll be destroying it in no time, because every car takes the damage of your blast. It's the same with Carex. If you use his laser, shoot along the length of the train, and if possible, shoot from where it's going to where it's been, because that way you'll hit more cars instead of having the laser try to basically catch up with new cars. It'll be running into new cars. But those two really destroy those trains very quickly with just a couple of keystrokes. So once again, the Phoenix Carrier Swarm, you build it faster. You have this hero unit, Clolarion, that can solo quite a few things. You get them out quickly. More of your gas is dedicated to building the carriers because less of your gas is spent trying to get up the tech tree. Phoenix also builds his buildings without any gas, so even more of the gas goes straight to the carrier swarm. And with numbers, you don't have to worry that much about defense. Carex, you do have to bypass a lot of really good units. I think that the Immortal with the Shadow Cannon, for example, fantastic. Getting the Energizers and the Zealots, his Zealots that respawn after they die, on an enemy that is mechanical is amazing. I think if you're going to go carriers with Carex, are you doing it for fun? Is there something, maybe you're playing Chains of Ascension, or not Chains of Ascension, the one with the lava and the really awesome announcer, and you want to make sure your guys are flying because then there's a chance you can dodge lava. I don't know, but for the most part, you want to. I think that Phoenix is a stronger character for doing that type of stuff. So let's take a look at the end results and just check to see if we held up our end of the bargain. Stukov can do quite a bit of damage, so yeah, we didn't do as much damage as Stukov. Our maneuverability was an advantage, but his numbers were also an advantage. He made a couple more units than I did, which is fantastic. That's exactly what Stukov should do. I had more resources. Anyway, we don't have to compare anything like this. I just wanted to point out that we contributed, and that's all you really care about in these games. So thank you very much. I'll talk to you in the next recording.